Okay, so Jimmy is not just a voice for Osborne's views, since right from the beginning of the play, he is presented with irony. तो मैंने एक बात कहा था दो दो क्लासेस में एक ही बात मैंने कहा कि जिमी पॉटर इज an autobiographical character or a semi autobiographical character. uh, Sneha, okay, not Sneha, Tania, what is the difference? Or you were also not there. So in every class there is a different set of people doing the classes. I will not tolerate this
Sir, but
further.
I know, like, I have heard difference between biography and autobiography, right?
Yes, tell me.
Yeah, biography, you have told that when the person, like, when the person is dead or he is no more, then it is biography. And when it is written by
So
himself,
cannot a
when he is
biography be
alive,
written while an author is alive?
but not by himself, I guess. Auto means by himself.
Yes, auto by himself. So yes, if the author is dead, he will not be able to write his autobiography. That's understood. What is biography?
Uh, Telling about someone's story influenced by someone, but it is not written by that person only,
So one author
I guess.
writing about another author is, I mean, writing about the life of another author is biography. And autobiography is when the author is writing about himself, his life, his or her life. That is autobiography. Okay, so as I was saying that Jimmy Potter is a semi autobiographical character because when we are going to write about Jimmy Potter, this issue will come up again and again. This same question can be asked as, or it could be a 15-mark question, or it could be a 5-mark question, that do you think Jimmy Potter is a autobiographical character, or what are the autobiographical elements of John Osborne that you can find in the character of Jimmy Potter? Okay, something like that. So the first thing that we are hearing, the first thing that we can see here is Jimmy is not a voice for Osborne's views, since right from the beginning of the play he is presented with irony. Zaisha, what is irony?
Sir, wait for 2 minutes.
Wait for 2 minutes is irony.
No, sir.
Sneha, what is irony?
Sir, 1 second, I'm having dinner.
Having dinner, waiting for 2 seconds. Abhinav, what are you having?
Nothing.
Okay, so can you tell us what is irony?
Unusual something that happens.
Unusual something that happens, like you doing classes, that is unusual. So it is irony.
Kind of, sir.
Nirjala, irony.
Sir, irony is a contrast between the reality and expectation.
So reality expectation is that you will do classes, and reality is that you are not doing classes. Is that irony? See, irony is a figure of speech where something is said and the opposite is meant. जो बोला जा रहा है उसका opposite, yes, something said. Sir, opposite of what we actually mean, we have to, you have to write the whole sentence. You have to write that irony is something where we say something and mean the opposite of it. If I say, if I tell you, whoever is in the class, that you are very punctual, you do your classes every time, that is an example of an irony. Because you people are not punctual, you people do not do classes regularly, yes, it's a literary device. It's a figure of speech, but it's not just a figure of speech, it's not just a literary device, it's the scope of irony is huge. Okay, but anyway, so the thing is that Jimmy cannot be considered only a voice for Osborne. You know, in these kinds of plays, in socialist realist plays, what happens is the author creates a character only to air his own voice. যা ওই অথর পলিটিক্সের ব্যাপারে ভাবছে, যেটা ও লাইফের ব্যাপারে ভাবছে, বিভিন্ন জিনিসের ব্যাপারে ভাবছে, সেই জিনিসটাকে প্রেজেন্ট, সেই জিনিসটাকে প্রেজেন্ট করার জন্য একটা ক্যারেক্টার তৈরি করে, যেটাকে বলা হয় মাউথ পিস। মানে অথর নিজে না বলে ড্রামার মাধ্যমে অথরের যা চিন্তা ভাবনা, অথর যা ভাবছে, অথর যা করতে চাইছে, সেগুলোকে পোর্ট্রে করে, সেগুলোকে কনভে করে। তো সাম ক্রিটিক্স আর অফ দ্য ভিউ দ্যাট the the character of Jimmy Potter is just a mouthpiece. The character of Jimmy Potter is not real. I mean, it does not have many dimensions. এরকম বলা হয় বা ভাবা হয়, অনেক অনেক ক্রিটিক্সরা বা অনেক রাইটাররা এরকম বলেছে। কিন্তু এই আনসারটা দিয়ে আমরা এটা বলার চেষ্টা করছি যে দ্যাট ইজ নট অলওয়েজ দ্য কেস, দ্যাট ইজ নট অলওয়েজ দ্য কেস। কারণ এখানে জিমি পটারকেও আয়রনিক্যালি প্রেজেন্ট করা হয়েছে। জিমি পটারকে কোনো মানে জিমি পটার ইজ নট ডিভয়েড অফ হিজ পার্সোনাল ক্যারেক্টারিস্টিক্স। কারণ যখন কোনো একটা ক্যারেক্টার কোনো একটা প্লের মাউথপিস, কোনো একটা পলিটিক্যাল প্রপাগ্যান্ডার মাউথপিস হয়ে যায়, তখন তার নিজের কোনো ইন্ডিভিজুয়ালিটি থাকে না। যেমন ধরো ওই যে পলিটিশিয়ানস, পলিটিক্যাল পার্টিজের যারা আইটি সেলে কাজ করে বা আইটি টা দেখে, পাবলিক রিলেশনসটা দেখে, বা পলিটিশিয়ানসদের হয়ে যেটাকে বাংলায় বলে মুখপাত্র, the person who goes to the press and talks about the party or the policies of the party or justifies whatever the party has done from time to time. um, yeah, kind of a speaker for a particular political party or a group or something like that. That person is called a mouthpiece, representative, yes. But Jimmy is not just the voice of um, Osborne. He is somebody, he has shades to his character, he has layers in his character because he has been drawn with irony. There is an irony in his appearance, or there is an irony in his character. This is done through the lengthy and descriptive stage directions, which serves as commentary. For example, to many he may seem sensitive to the point of vulgarity. To others, he is simply a loudmouth. To be as vehement as he is to be almost non committal. So, this is a description that John Osborne is giving about Jimmy Potter in the introduction of the play or in the setting of the play. First act এ যখন জিমি পটারকে ইন্ট্রোডিউস করা হচ্ছে, তখন জন অসবর্ন, দ্য অথর, দ্য প্লে রাইট, হি ইজ সেইং দিস, যে জিমি কীরকম কী আছে। To many he may seem sensitive to the point of vulgarity. মানে এতটাই সে সেন্সিটিভ যে ওটাকে ভালগার বলা যেতে পারে, মানে অবসিন বলা যেতে পারে, অবসিনলি সেন্সিটিভ, মানে ছোট ছোট কথায় সে রেগে যায় বা ক্ষেপে ওঠে, এরকম টাইপের আর কি লোক। অনেকের কাছে ও একটা লাউড মাউথ, মানে ভাট বকে বা বেশি বকে। এরকম পাড়ায়, কলেজে, সব জায়গাতে এরকম একটা লোক থাকে যাকে, যে সব ব্যাপারে কথা বলতে চায়, বা মানে সে একটু জোরে আওয়াজে কথা বলে। ভেহেমেন্ট মিন্স who opposes or who is passionate about whatever he or she is saying, সেটাকে ভেহেমেন্ট বলা যেতে পারে। এবং ও এতটাই ভেহেমেন্ট, এতটাই মানে প্যাশনেট অ্যাবাউট হিজ পয়েন্টস অফ ভিউজ, যে অনেকে এটা মনে করে যে হি ইজ অ্যাকচুয়ালি নট কমিটেড টু এনি পার্টিকুলার পয়েন্ট অফ ভিউ। He is not committed to any one particular point of view, যে এতটা প্যাশনেট যখন লোকে হয়ে যায় কোনো একটা বিষয় নিয়ে, তখন বিভিন্ন লোকেরা সন্দেহ করে যে এরকম, মানে এতটা কমিটমেন্ট এর নয়, এর এরকম it is not possible. So that is how um, John Osborne describes Jimmy Potter. Next, this along with the subsequent stage I hope you all can now see the PDF, right, in your phones. If not, tell me, because otherwise this will mean nothing. কেউ এমন আছো যে পিডিএফটা দেখতে পাচ্ছ না ফোনে? Okay, good. So I assume that all of you can see the PDF and can read from it, right? Okay. I will ask in the middle of it, I will ask someone to read a particular paragraph from it. So you better follow what is happening. This, along with the subsequent stage directions, serves to indicate that a double view of Jimmy, taking into account the discrepancy between his self image and the comments about him, is required by the play. জিমিকে আমরা দুটোভাবে দেখতে পারি। একটা হচ্ছে এটা যে ওর নিজের যে ইমেজটা ও তৈরি করেছে, সেলফ ইমেজ, দের ইজ আ ডিসক্রিপেন্সি, দের ইজ সামথিং wrong, or there is something missing in the way in which he represents himself, and the comments that are made on him or at him. It is because Jimmy's rhetoric is so powerful that the audience instinctively reacts to it by identifying it as what the dramatist wants to say. তো যেহেতু জিমি এতটাই রেটরিক্যাল ইন দ্য সেন্স ভেরি পাওয়ারফুল স্পিকার, rhetoric here means not just figures of speech, but one of the characteristics of Jimmy Potter is that he is very good with words. খুব ভালো কথা বলতে পারে। There are many people who can talk really well. They can influence, they can pursue people very easily. So uh, that is a characteristic of Jimmy Potter. But his way of speech, his way of speaking, his arguments, they are so strong, they are so well created, that many people think that it is not what Jimmy Potter wants to say, but rather it is the dramatist who wants to say. Since you're students of literature, since you have been studying drama for some time now, this is the 4th semester now, you should realize that a good play, a good character is one where uh, the dramatist is not a character in the play. A good play is one in which the dramatist is not playing any role. The best of the dramatists, the best of the playwrights, Shakespeare, Christopher Marlowe, Chekhov, anybody, whoever has written a good play, does not involve himself or herself with the characters. The characters should be autonomous. প্লেয়ের মধ্যে যে ক্যারেক্টার্সরা আছে তাদেরকে অটোনমাস হতে হবে, তাদেরকে সেলফ, there should be a kind of a self driven, these characters should have um, a lot of shades, a lot of twists and turns, not just somebody who is created by the dramatist to convey the ideas of the dramatist. In that case, Jimmy is a very important character, karon Jimmy is not John Osborne. John Osborne is different and Jimmy is different. There are some qualities of John Osborne in Jimmy, but Jimmy is a separate, fictional but a separate character. This is perhaps even more true of the reader for whom the play reads almost like a monologue. জিমির যেটা ছোট হাতের রয়েছে এটাকে বড় হাতের করে নেবে. The first letter of a proper noun should always be in caps. When you write your answers, I have seen numerous times you have written English with a small e. This is not done, this is not acceptable from students of English honors. English honors এর স্টুডেন্ট হয়ে তোমরা এরকম মানে যদি করো, it only shows that you have learnt nothing, and this is very basic. যে you should know what proper nouns are, and the first letters of the proper nouns should always be in caps. So here Jimmy নামটা এখানে ছোট হাতের হয়ে গেছে, Jimmyর যেটা it should be in caps. So you take these answers, print out, and you make these corrections and start memorizing also. Okay, Jimmy's centrality is reinforced by the way the other characters constantly discuss him even in his absence. তো অনেক ক্রিটিক্সরা এটা বলেছে যে লুক ব্যাক ইন অ্যাঙ্গার is not a play, but rather it's a monologue. Koel, what is a monologue? Koel,
Yes, sir.
what is a monologue?
Monologue. No idea, sir.
Anybody has any idea?
Sir, a long speech given by one person only for a longer time.
One speech, one particular speech delivered by one particular character over a long period of time. Okay, that's correct. So monologue is a way of expression, like we were discussing about stream of consciousness. Nirjala wrote about stream of consciousness, and this word called interior monologue came up. So monologue is when a person, a single character, delivers a long, usually a lengthy speech all alone. There might be other characters present on the stage, there might not be. So this monologue is a kind of dialogue which is not dialogue. Mono means single and log means to speak, hence Dialogue means there are two people speaking. So monologue is where one person in a character, as a character in a play, speaks. That's a monologue. So Jimmy, Look Back in Anger is considered to be a monologue because uh, it's Jimmy who is making most of the speeches. In the last class, I told you that Allison was giving a particular kind of treatment to Jimmy. Anubhav, what was the kind of treatment? Abhinav, sorry. What was the kind of treatment? उस ट्रीटमेंट का नाम क्या था जो बताया मैंने? Abhinav, if you don't respond, Abhinav, I will remove you from the meeting. If there is some disturbance, type in the chat box. And Koel, Zaisha, Sania, why weren't you there in the 5 p.m. class?
सर लिंक नहीं मिल रहा था मुझे।
बकवास ना मत किया करो मेरे साथ, ठीक है? बकवास बिल्कुल मत किया करो. एक दो दिन और देखूंगा, फिर ना तो ऑफलाइन क्लास में और ना ऑनलाइन क्लास में आने दूंगा. बदमाशी मेरे साथ करने मत आना. What about you, Koel? Abhinav, type your
Sir,
answer in
there
the
is
group.
no link in the group.
So where did you find this link?
Sir, I don't know. अभिनव ने भेजा.
अभिनव ने कहाँ से भेजा होगा?
पर ग्रुप में तो कोई लिंक
ग्रुप में
नहीं है.
पिन किया हुआ है बेवकूफ.
Sorry sir.
What about you, Sania? Don't. This is not a joke. If you think you are jokers, go to circus. Don't come to class. एक क्लास करोगे, दूसरा क्लास नहीं करोगे. I will not tolerate this. What about you, Sania? तुम्हारा क्या एक्सक्यूज है?
So actually, you haven't provided any link in the group.
Oh really? I have not provided any link in the group.
I have found TN Sirs and Sanmitra's ma'am, but I haven't.
Who is
found your
Sanmitra
link.
ma'am? You don't even know the name of the teachers properly. What is it that is pinned in the group? Liar. Stupid. There's no link in the group. What is it then? Fourth semester PC, Tuesday, April 21st, 5 pm, 6 pm. What is that link? Are you blind? Or stupid or what? I really don't need students like you. If you don't want to do the class, you are free to go. Yes, Abhinav. What did I ask you to write in the group? What did I ask you to write in the chat?
Sir, today or yesterday?
What? Right now, I asked you something. Did you take notes? As I keep telling you. Did you take notes, Abhinav?
Sir, silent treat.
सो इतने देर क्या साइलेंट, तुम मुझे साइलेंट ट्रीटमेंट क्यों दे रहे थे?
सर यहाँ सर
यहाँ
माइक
सर, वहाँ सर, these are all fucking excuses that I do not want.
सर आप सुन ही सकते हैं सर, माइक है सर, मैं क्या
हाँ तो
मैं
मैंने
आपको
तुमको
क्या सुनाऊं?
टाइप करने बोला चैट में।
सर उसके लिए सर टाइम लगता है सर, वही मैं
ओ
टाइप कर
रियली,
रहा
तुमको
था
टाइम
तो
लगता है और मुझे नहीं लगता है? डोंट गिव मी एक्सक्यूजेस, गेट आउट ऑफ दिस क्लास। Sharks. And Sania, what if I send you a screenshot right now of the link? If you want to do the classes, do it regularly. If you are not interested, nobody is interested in you either. टाइम लगता है। Okay. Not only does Jimmy say these things, like not only is the play heavy with Jimmy's own dialogues constantly or monologues, but even when he is not present, Jimmy is somebody that people talk about. जिमी को लेकर बातें होती हैं, जिमी ने ये किया, जिमी ने वो किया, इन सब चीज़ों को लेकर बातें होती रहती हैं। एंड पीपल कैनॉट गेट आउट ऑफ जिमीज़ इन्फ्लुएंस। जिमी जब नहीं भी है तब भी उसका इन्फ्लुएंस काम करता है। दैट इज़ वाई ही इज़ द सेंट्रल कैरेक्टर। Yet in performance, Allison's silent presence is probably very effective in undercutting the force of Jimmy's constant speech by showing it up as not much more than invective. Jimmy, why did you come back, Abhinav? I asked you to leave the class, didn't I? टाइम लग रहा है ना, तो टाइम लगाते रहो टाइम। Liars and people who give excuses are not welcome here. Anyway, so as I was saying that Jimmy is constantly constantly speaking, and he is constantly attacking Allison, but Allison is silent. Allison is not responding to Jimmy's attacks. So Jimmy's attacks become useless. अकेले अकेले कोई कुछ बोल रहा है, उसका कोई रिस्पॉन्स कोई नहीं दे रहा है, एज यू डू नॉट गिव रिस्पॉन्स टू मी इन टाइम, क्योंकि तुम लोगों को बहुत टाइम लग जाता है। आई डोंट नो फॉर व्हाट यू गाइज टाइप एट द स्पीड ऑफ लाइट, एंड हियर तुम लोगों को टाइम लगता है, एंड यू आर ट्राइंग टू टेल मी कि टाइम लगता है। So his speeches, his dialogues, monologues fall flat because there is no response from Allison. The only kind of response that he gets are from two people, Cliff and Helena. These two are other characters whom you will know by and by. Cliff too is meant to provide, Osborne says, a soothing, natural counterpoint to Jimmy. So Cliff acts as a foil to Jimmy. Foil means a counterpart, a kind of contrast. Cliff is always very silent, or he is not as violent as Jimmy is, but he sometimes responds to Jimmy's attacks or insults, and he tells Jimmy not to attack, not to abuse Allison. Natural is the word one would pick immediately here. Doesn't it effectively imply that Jimmy's behavior is, compared to that of others, a pose or a playing out of a role? So, when we call a character like Cliff natural, अगर किसी को हम natural बोलते हैं तो इसका मतलब ये होता है कि उसके ऑपोजिट जो कैरेक्टर खड़ा है जिमी, वो आर्टिफिशियल है. वो आर्टिफिशियल है क्योंकि वो हमेशा तैयार रहता है. वो ही इज़ ऑलवेज यू नो गिविंग अ काइंड ऑफ अ पोज स्टाइल में रहता है. जो आदमी नेचुरल होता है, दैट पर्सन डज नॉट रियली प्रिपेयर अ स्पीच, और दैट पर्सन ऑफन फंबल्स फॉर वर्ड्स कि अभी क्या बोलना है, अभी इसके इसके जवाब में क्या बोल सकते हैं. बट Jimmy is always prepared, especially to attack Allison. He is as if rehearsed his part. He is an artificial character. This is conscious at some time and not so at others. Turn to the moment where he says, "But plenty of them do seem to have a revolutionary fire about them, with self awareness and even with self mockery, that a revolutionary fire is what he would like to have, and his behavior and long speeches certainly bear out such a wish, as does his deliberate use of long words, sycophantic, phlegmatic, pusillanimous." Now, these are the words that he uses against his wife Allison. Jimmy is a rebel without a cause. I don't know if you have heard of this term, rebel without a cause. Rebel without a cause is a person who is angry or who is satiric, sarcastic, or who does not accept the authority as it is, as there is in society. Yes, without any reason that person is saying, commenting certain things against certain people. যেমন কিছু লোকজন হয় ফেসবুকে স্পেশালি দেখা যায় এখন বেশিরভাগ, যে তারা পুরো জিনিসটাকে না জেনে বা পুরো ব্যাপারটাকে না ভেবে কোনো একটা ইভেন্ট, কোনো একটা কমেন্টের ওপর কমেন্ট করে বা কোনো একটা পোস্টের ওপরে কমেন্ট করে, অ্যান্ড দে কিপ ফাইটিং without there being any particular reason for that. There seems to be no logic behind why they do what they do. So Jimmy is like that. Jimmy is a rebel without a cause, and there is some kind of a revolutionary fire inside him, and his behavior is often long speeches. And so Jimmy is basically a person who should not stay in the house, rather he should be speaking at a political rally. जैसे जिमी बात करता है, ऐसा लगता है कि जैसे वो पति या फिर स्वीट शॉप ओनर या फिर क्लिफ का दोस्त नहीं है, या फिर एक कॉमन पर्सन नहीं है. वो कोई पॉलिटिशियन है या फिर कोई पॉलिटिकल लीडर है जिसको घर पे नहीं रहकर किसी पॉलिटिकल मीटिंग में होना चाहिए, किसी रैली में होना चाहिए, जहाँ पर वो अपनी ये गुस्से वाली बातें या फिर ये सटायरिक बातें कर सके. So that's how Jimmy is. And कभी कभी देखना जो people who are very good with speech, not all politicians but some politicians give very good speeches, and they use certain words which many of us do not understand. Shashi Tharoor is one of them. He uses certain words that is difficult for us to understand. He uses some kind of very hi-fi English, and these words sycophantic, phlegmatic, and pusillanimous, these are also words like that. Sycophantic means flatterer, flatter करने वाला, चमचा type. Phlegmatic means somebody who is always in a bad mood, sulky, And pusillanimous is a person who is very timid, very easily scared, um, coward, and that person, a person who is pusillanimous, will always be like accepting everything that people say to him. If people say that you are weak, they will accept, yes, I am weak, and they will not fight, they will not put forward their own point. Okay, so Jimmy is has these kinds of qualities. It is not suggested that Jimmy is a hypocrite or that his feelings are no more than a desire for attention from other characters and the audience, but rather that an element of posturing is inseparable from the very concept of the angry young man. ऐसा नहीं बोल रहे हैं कि जिमी सिर्फ एक हिपोक्रेट है, हाँ उसमें हिपोक्रेसी है, लेकिन ही इज़ नॉट ओनली अ हिपोक्रेट. ऐसा नहीं है कि जिमी अटेंशन सीकर नहीं है, ही इज़ एन अटेंशन सीकर, बट he is not just an attention seeker. When you are regarded as an angry young man, when you have that stamp on you, then sometimes you have to live up to that expectation. ये posturing करना, ये जो grand stand लेना, ये ideologically या सोसाइटी के बारे में बहुत बड़ी बड़ी बातें बोलना, ये एंग्री यंग मैन का कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स है. We were discussing about Amitabh Bachchan, and I think in this movie called Diwar, his brother Shashi Kapoor became the police officer, and he wanted to arrest Amitabh Bachchan, and he was saying something like that, भाई तू sign करता है कि नहीं, something like that. And Amitabh Bachchan like unfolded his sleeve and showed that तेरा बाप चोर है is written on his hand, and he says that पहले इस आदमी का signature लेकर आओ. He could have had removed the tattoo, but he kept it so that his anger can be fueled. So Jimmy is like that. Jimmy को मौके नहीं मिले ज़िंदगी में. जिमी यूनिवर्सिटी ग्रेजुएट है, जिमी दुकान चलाता है, एंड ही इज़ एंग्री. बट वाई टेक दैट एंगर आउट ऑन हिज वाइफ? Why not join a political party? Why not become a politician? Why not try again? But no, they want to keep this problem alive so that it justifies they are getting angry. So that is what Jimmy is doing here. If nothing else, this makes such a character more human and fallible and endears him to the spectators, since an essential condition for the success of the character is that he be easily identified with, an aim that is part of the play's thirst toward feeling as being both more honest and more difficult to attain to than thought is. Why is Jimmy a very significant character? In fact, after 1956, after the staging of this drama, this very word, angry young man, was coined, and everybody was trying to create a character like Jimmy. Because if you remember that, I mean, you're not supposed to remember, but if you have heard or read about it, that everybody wanted to become like Amitabh Bachchan. Every hero wanted to become like Amitabh Bachchan. Why? Because his character was not just something that was ideal, but something that was humane. ह्यूमन वैल्यूज़ भी उसमें थे. ह्यूमन का जो फेलियर होता है वो भी उसमें था, मतलब उनके कैरेक्टर्स में, क्योंकि वो नेगेटिव शेड्स थे उसमें. वो गुंडा था, वो डॉन था, वो ही वुड ऑफन फॉल फाउल ऑफ द पुलिस के साथ लड़ाई हो जाता था. This person was very different from the earlier heroes, just like Jimmy. The kind of hero that Jimmy is was not seen before. kind of a there's a term for this, anti-hero. Yes. So Jimmy is a kind of an anti-hero. We have known there are other anti-heroes also, like Arms and the Man may Blunchley. Blunchley is a character in Arms and the Man by George Bernard Shaw. So he is also an anti-hero, but a soft one. But Jimmy is an anti-hero, which is a who is very tough and who is very acidic. Still, it would be a mistake to judge this dramatic type as nothing other than that. However, many young people in Britain in the 1950s felt as Jimmy does about the establishment. He does not, as Tynan is a critic, Tynan implies, speak for all of them. सो ब्रिटेन में उस समय जिमी जैसे लोग थे who were angry, who were dissatisfied, who wanted to change the society not by like letters and applications but by the use of force. In fact, this is much less a collective voice than that of Colonel Redfern. Colonel Redfern is the father of Allison, Jimmy ka ससुर. This might seem to contradict drama giving voice to general public perceptions, but actually reinforces the point that drama cannot successfully make social statements which are not tempered by a view of what will work on the stage. Here, Jimmy's idiosyncrasies are precisely what work well. Idiosyncrasies means अजीब हरकतें, which is very particular or which is very peculiar to some people. Some people are very some people can be identified because of their peculiarities. कोई किसी तरीके से अपने बाल बनाता है या किसी तरीके का ड्रेस पहनता है या they say something sometimes which makes them different from the other people who have other idiosyncrasies, eccentricities, but not that kind of eccentricity. So ड्रामा का ये उद्देश्य नहीं है कि जो सोसाइटी में चल रहा है उसी को एज इट इज़ प्रेजेंट कर देना, बट इस तरीके से प्रेजेंट करना कि वो एंटरटेनिंग भी लगे और उसको लोग एक्सेप्ट भी कर पाए. सो जिमी इज़ एन एम्बॉडीमेंट ऑफ दैट. One of Jimmy's characteristics is lack of awareness, partly his ignorance of Allison's pregnancy and partly the failure to realize how his own values are subject to the criticism he makes of Colonel Redfern's and how wrong he is to suppose Allison cold and impersonal. जिमी का सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम ये है कि उसको खुद नहीं पता कि वो गलत है. इंसान को जब तक ये पता नहीं होता कि वो गलत है तब तक उसको लगता है कि सारी दुनिया गलत है और वही सही है. Jimmy is a person like that. First, he does not know that Allison is pregnant. Secondly, उसकी बातें बहुत लंबी चौड़ी हैं, बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग भी हैं, बहुत सही भी हैं. They are, sometimes he says things which are very correct. But those words can themselves be क्रिटिसाइज्ड. ऐसा नहीं है कि भगवान है कि वो जो बोलता है हमेशा सही ही होगा. दे कैन बी चैलेंज्ड बट ही डज नॉट नो दैट. सो दैट इज़ अ इम्पॉर्टेंट पार्ट ऑफ हिज कैरेक्टर. सेल्फ पिटी इज अनदर एविडेंट ट्रेट, एज इन द सीन वेयर ही अटेम्प्ट्स टू ऑफर अ क्रूडली साइकोएनालिटिक एक्सप्लेनेशन फॉर हिज मिसोजिनी, ट्रेसिंग इट टू हिज मदर्स नेग्लेक्ट ऑफ हिज डाइंग फादर. जिमी के जैसे लोग हमारे सोसाइटी में भी ऐसे हैं जो सेल्फ पिटी करते हैं. सेल्फ पिटी, खुद को बेचारा दिखाते हैं. बदमाशी खुद करते हैं लेकिन वो विक्टिम कार्ड प्ले करते हैं कि मैं विक्टिम हूँ. और in his dialogues he mentions that when his father was sick, that is when Jimmy's father was sick, his mother left them. His mother left both his father and young Jimmy and भाग गई, ran away from responsibilities and all. And that is why he says that he has turned into a misogynist. Misogynist is a person who hates women. So he says that because his mother did not take care of his father when his father was dying and when he was young. That is why he hates all women. That is very wrong. That is a very that is too simple an explanation as to why Jimmy is like that. ऐसे बहुत सारे लोग होते हैं जो टॉक्सिक होते हैं और वो ऐसा बोलते हैं कि हाँ बचपन में मेरे को ये ट्रॉमा हुआ था, इसके वजह से मैं टॉक्सिक हो गया, या मुझे ज़िंदगी में ये नहीं मिला, इसके वजह से मैं टॉक्सिक हो गया. बट दैट cannot always be the case. Yes, for some time you might be hurt, you might be angry, but it cannot go on for a very long length of time. You have to recover from whatever trauma you went through on your own. Otherwise the world will not understand. The world can empathize with you for some time. After that they will think that you are just playing the victim card. All the same, Jimmy is far from lacking in either sincerity, he feels passionately what he says or makes himself feel it, or in biting wit. He is not insincere. जो बोल रहा है ऐसा नहीं है कि वो जानता है वो गलत बोल रहा है, उसको ऐसा लगता है वो सही है. और and he is very intelligent, he is very witty, very knowledgeable. Again, you have to write somewhere that he is a university graduate, not from a very big university, but what he calls a red brick university. Red brick universities are those universities which are not really very well known, like Cambridge, Oxford, Harvard, not like that, but some other universities which are also universities, and it does not matter from which university you graduate, but if you are taught well, if you have knowledge, then that's it. Anyway, so his wit, his intelligence is also there, and he is not insincere, झूठा नहीं है. Most of the humor in the play comes from him, and yet I think के जगह पे we think, या I think भी लिख सकते हो, because this is an answer that you are writing, so you can write I think. The play's excessive reliance on Jimmy weakens all other characters by causing them to appear undeveloped, and also, as Taylor points out, Taylor again is a critic, reduces the scope of dramatic conflict by making them always subservient to the hero, whose supremacy goes unchallenged. One critic, John Mander, goes so far as to say that the other characters in the play, despite the talk, are not much more than stage furniture, with result that the content of the play is reduced to Jimmy's views. So, again, another critic is of the view that other characters are just not developed so that Jimmy's character could develop. But we do not like a play like that, where only one character is saying everything, whereas the other characters are just audience. Because a play is made great by dialogues, and if great dialogues can't be created because of the interaction between two characters, then that play is also not very proper. So Jimmy stands out because John Osborne wants to create Jimmy into a very big character, into a very huge character. जैसे अमिताभ बच्चन का ही अगर एग्जाम्पल लें तो शोले में अगर देखा जाए तो अमिताभ बच्चन और धर्मेंद्र, they did everything, and all the other characters were like just helping them. In the modern times, in the modern world, modern characters, they might be helped by other characters. However, अभी के जो मूवीज़ होते हैं, जो स्पाई मूवीज़ हैं या मिलिट्री बेस्ड मूवीज़ हैं, वहाँ पे भी यही दिखाया जाता है कि एक हीरो ही अकेला काफ़ी है पूरे आर्मी को उड़ा देने के लिए या सभी विलेंस को मार देने के लिए, विच इज़ वेरी अननेचुरल, विच इज़ वेरी अनरियलिस्टिक. So, whereas in the last answer we discussed that Look Back in Anger is a realistic play, there are some real elements, but because of this overemphasis on Jimmy's character, all the other characters seem to be very small, seem not to interact properly, and hence it becomes artificial and unreal. Okay. All right, let us stop here today. I guess we have another class tomorrow, and be on time and be regular.